Okay, so I'm going to go through the Year 8 Algebra chapter review. I'm just going to pick out some key questions and have a go at them. And so let me just get my pen out. Oops. Okay, so let's go for it. Evaluate the following expressions. So we're doing question 2, when A is equal to 4 and B is equal to 5. So wherever you see an A, you just have to substitute it in, and the same with B. Now, I'm sure most of you should be okay. I'm going to do 2A for you here. Well, let's pick a harder one. Let's do C actually. Let's do C. We've got 8B over A plus 2B. Well, what does that equal? Well, we know that B is equal to 5 and we know that A is equal to 4. So we need to, wherever there's a B, we just need to substitute that in. So we've got 8 times B is 5 over A, which is 4, plus 2 times B, which is 2 times 5, which is 10, which therefore equals 8 times 5 is 40, 40 divided by 4 is 10, so 10 plus 10 is going to be equal to 20. So whenever it says evaluate the following expression, they're giving you two values for A and B, and it's just plugging those numbers in. These are our variables, A and B, but in this case we're actually given what A is and what B is. But they do vary, but in this case we know what A is, we know what B is, we just sub those values in. Calculate the following expressions when A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 3. I'm going to do 3B. 3B. Okay, so how do we go ahead and do that? Well, we know that, let's sub in what A and B is. This time A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 3. So 3 times 2. Open the brackets. We've got 3 plus 17. So that's what we've got. 3 times 2 is 6. 20 times 6 is 120. We're done there because we actually found our number of what this equation is equal to. Now, just bearing in mind though that A and B, they really can be anything. They're variables. Question 4. Evaluate the following expression. The same thing, but this time you need to consider a couple of things. First of all, that if you are multiplying a positive number by a negative number, if we're multiplying a negative by a positive, a negative times a negative, or we've got a positive times a positive. Now, obviously, we multiply two positive numbers together, we're going to get an answer which is positive. Positive times a negative, we know is going to be equal to a negative, because they're different. These are different. Positive and negative, these are different. So if they're different, they multiply to give a negative number. If they're the same, then they're going to become positive. So let's have a look. We've got two positive values. Positive times a positive gives us a positive. But a negative times a negative is also going to give us a positive. If we have a look at a number line, this is the positive direction, this is the negative direction. The opposite way to a negative direction is actually going to be, the opposite to a negative direction is going to be in the positive direction. So you need to know those facts when you're adding and subtracting or multiplying through by a negative number. So before we, let's go ahead and do this, let's do 4B. Okay, so let's do 4B. 4B. We've got AB minus 4. So let's sub in what A and B are. So we've got negative 2 times negative 3. Let's just leave it like that for now. And then we've got minus 4 minus 6B. minus 6 times minus 3, and that's over 2. Now that you always need to do this in steps, because then if you do it in stages, if you make a mistake, you're still going to get marked working. Let's have a look at each individual multiplication and see what it is. We know what the 2 times 3 is 6. We know what the number is, the value. But negative 2 times negative 3. Well, negative times a negative, they're the same sign, so it's going to be a positive answer. Positive, that is equal to a positive. So we know that that's actually going to be plus 6. But we don't write it as plus 6, we just write it as 6. If it's a negative, we write the negative out the front. So far we've got 6 minus 4 minus this 6 minus 3 over 2. So let's just simplify that to 2, and then we've got this minus 6 minus 3 over 2. Let's just add that for the time being. Minus 6 times minus 3 is going to be 18, and it's going to be positive 18. So this is actually positive 18. Positive 18, so it's 2 minus 18 over 2. 18 over 2 is the same as 9, so it's 2 minus 9, which is equal to, well, whenever we're doing this 2 minus 9, let's split this up into 2. Let's do a take 2, because it brings us back to 0, doesn't it? So if we've got 2 there, it would make sense that if we're going this way, 9, then let's go back to the reference point here. And then once we get here, if we're walking in this direction, it just makes it easier using or going back to this reference point first of being 0. So let's take 2 away, and then from there we need to take 7 away. Okay, these 2 are then going to cancel out, which leaves us with negative 7. Okay, so that's question 2 to 4. I'm going to continue on with question 5 in the next video.